Dragon Ball Z. You know, that name seems to be having a random letter at the end. Why is that Z there? It just seems to be there just to sound cool. Haven't you ever guys wondered, what does that Z mean, and why is it there? Well, to answer that, I'm Blackenfist, and it's time for me to drop some birds and the bees on Dragon Ball. To answer the question of, why does that Z there, and what does it mean, you gotta go back to the manga. Now, to put it plainly, there does not exist any Dragon Ball Z manga. That does not exist. There's only one manga called Dragon Ball. Many people right now are shaking their heads familiar with the Viz version, but let me explain. When Viz got the rights to the Dragon Ball manga, it was just that. The Dragon Ball manga, one manga. Viz decided to split the manga up into Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z to follow the anime version. Why did they do this? Because of course in the United States, the anime version was popularized first, and Viz was just trying to follow suit to capitalize on that. So that brings us to the next question of, wait a minute, then why does the anime have a Z in it? Well then, you gotta go back to Toei Animation in 1989 when they were trying to adapt the Saiyan saga into an anime. At this point, Toei Animation wanted to end the Dragon Ball manga. They felt it had ran enough, and they wanted to separate or just create a new thing for the new part of the Dragon Ball story. They wanted something they wanted just a new title just to freshen things up a bit. So they went to Toriyama, and he stated in an interview that he gave in Son Goku Daisetsu, which is, by the way, a Dragon Ball data book, he stated that he was fine with the name as it is. He did not want to change it, but because the anime staff wanted a new name, he said, why not just add a Z in there? A Z is the last letter of the alphabet, and at the time, Toriyama was actually intending to end Dragon Ball at that point. I mean, he didn't have a surefire ending, but he was thinking that it was coming to an end. So he was saying, Dragon Ball Z, essentially, the Z stands for Dragon Ball The Last Story. That's essentially what it meant. So all these people saying, oh, Toriyama intended to end it at Frieza. Oh no, it was at Cell. Both wrong. He intended to end it even before then. And that's exactly what the Z stands for, and ironically, the Z actually didn't even end, it didn't even end with that. The Dragon Ball continued on for much longer after the Z part, so, and then after a while, you know, the Z kind of lost its meaning, obviously, because it no longer was the last Dragon Ball story. It continued on for a lot longer, so, you know, the English dub I'm aware of used the term as to describe the group of fighters as the Z fighters, and this is what the Z kind of represented after that. The interesting thing is, haven't you ever noticed that no one besides the narrator ever uses the term Z fighters? There's only one instance in the entire anime where Gohan, at least in the English dub, says Z fighters, and that's when he's having that horrific nightmare when he's training in the hyperbolic time chamber against Cell.
Hi, Mom, what's up?
I've come to take you home. You've been gone a long time, Gohan.
Aw, come on, Mom.
No! You've got a lot of studying to do back at the house, Gohan, and I do not want you to end up in a gang like your father!
Dad's a Z fighter, Mom. He's not in a gang.
I don't care!
Only time the Z fighter was ever uttered by a character other than the narrator. So there you go. Z was intended originally to be essentially Dragon Ball The Last Story, as it was the last letter in the alphabet. Well, hopefully this has been informative, and I'm Blackenfist, and you just got some birds and the bees on Dragon Ball. To note that there does not exist any Dragon Ball Z manga. Now I know people familiar with the Viz version of the manga are shaking their heads at me right now, but I'm telling you, when Viz got the rights to the Dragon Ball manga, that was it. It was one manga. It was never intended.
What manga you talking about?
Can you go?
Yeah, what's up, man?
Go!